I've named all my cars for Ueno with the model SQ, CB, CM, and so on. I want to change that up by actually naming the car models properly, along with experimenting a performance model of my new car that I'll be designing in this video. Hey guys, it's TRIZE here, and let's continue managing my car company, the Ueno Motor Cars, of this campaign. So currently we're still selling my best-selling car, the Model SQ, which is making about $10 billion of profit, which is pretty nice. So anyways, let's design another car, and I believe on top of designing another car, I'll probably design a new factory for my utility vehicles that I plan to expand for the company. I think for a vehicle, we're probably going back to a city car, but I think what we're going to be doing here is to make the base level city car, and then the step up premium model for the city premium, and for the performance model, probably try out the light sports segment, even though here, they recommend, like highly recommend, that a car should be a hatchback for these two for the city cars, and the light sports cars should be a coupe. But let's give this a try for our car. I guess we'll pick this 2.44 meter wheelbase hatchback body, the 3-door variant, and I'll probably experiment with the 5-door and especially the coupe version for the light sports car. So with the 3-door coupe, or hatchback coupe, whatever, the pedal material will be steel, ladder type chassis steel because of our limitations for our factory, which we're going to update very soon. So front engine placement, I guess we'll try out a front longitudinal again. Sooner or later, I'm going to try out a front transverse, probably in the late 60s or early 70s for our compact vehicles. And since the game complains heavily about comfort, let's try out double wishbone for the front and rear suspensions. And for the engine, I might as well keep the 1.4 liter engine, making 54 horsepower and 67 pounds-feet of torque, but for the more premium model, especially for the sports car level, probably make an inline 6 version, I think. But let's see what we got here in terms of... Goddamn, Bitdefender, hold on a second. Sorry, Bitdefender got my way claiming that there's an update. So in terms of the engine size, it fits well for a rear drive 4x4, but the engine bay factor, like the space, is 27% filled and takes 6 engineering time to make this fit. So what if I were to make an inline 6 engine? So create a new family, I don't care what it is. So inline 6. Oh boy. Maybe it has to be an inline 4 for now, and for like a large family car, with the performance model, maybe make this a 6. Yeah, this is a little bit too risky to do so. So I guess we'll scrap the inline 6 for now, and keep on making the 4-cylinder. So can I can't delete it right now. And for the drive type, good old rear-wheel drive with an manual 4-speed, the automatic would be for the mid-trim level. The top speed is 88 miles an hour. Sooner or later, we're going to definitely upgrade this engine. Well, it is going to be upgraded no matter what. Maybe make this like a 1.6 liter or something like that for the performance model. And for the tires, damn, these are like really sticking in. I guess continue the cross plies. Yep, 155s front and back still. But what do they recommend? 152s in the rear and the front's 140. I guess these are fine. But just jack up the diameter just a smidge. 600s will do with 13-inch rims. Maybe. But the higher end model will have bigger rim size, maybe like a 14 or a 15-inch. And the brakes, good old drum single shoes up front and a single shoe in the back. Put 210s or 230s up front, 210s in the back. Drop the brake force a smidge for both of them. Aerodynamics, of course, no under tray, brake airflow, the usual 10 with the interior of the vehicle. So a 2-seater up front and 3 in the back with a standard interior and standard AM radio player. With the driver and safety aids of this vehicle, I guess continue, maybe try out a manual like racket pinion type of steering. So my company and my engineers are more familiar with this. It's not like the manual circulating ball, which takes up a lot of materials costs and engineering time, but somehow improves comfort, and people love this more of a circulating ball compared to a racket pinion steering. But let's use racket pinion for this car with advanced 1960s safety standards, so we have some 1960s safety standards in the year of 1962, so they're not outdated or anything. And suspension, I guess standard for the low-end model, normal preset, and we got some mild oversteer for the drivability factor. Pretty good in sportiness, but this is not the right trim level for this particular car to have this type of setup. And the front brake force is low. Oh my god, yeah, I agree. I guess a 2-shoe, while jacking up the percentage quite a bit up in here, folks. And the rears are 2 OP. Not anymore. So it seems like the demographic match for the city car isn't that great, about 70.5%, normalized desirability 53%, affordability 40%, but it seems like we're doing fairly good at all the stats, but mid in comfort. And elsewhere seems okay, like MPG, reliability, carbon footprint, city footprint, everything seems good. But a fun car seems good enough, right? I could probably market this as a fun car and maybe try out like a city premium or a fun... Is there a fun premium for the market? I never made a fun car for automation, especially for the campaign section. So if we were to set this as, like, pin this, can I see it on the side? Yes, it is very terrible due to low sportiness. Oh, now, yeah, look at the fun section. I really needed to step up at my sportiness factor, so it appears... Yeah, I'm not going to market this as a fun car, even a fun budget car either. Alright, so I made changes to the car, so instead of having a hatchback because of poor statistics and all that stuff to sell the car in general, it had to be a sedan yet again to compete in the family budget category right here, of a demographic match of 67.7%, normalized desirability 116.4%, and competing trims 207! So there's 207 cars that we are competing right now, but thanks to our company prestige at 9.4, higher than the worldwide average. Same thing for our headquarters reputation. This is pretty much like more of a borderline first choice to those willing to buy this particular car, especially for this base level car. But seeing that we're all good with the base level car here, so let's first things first, change up the name of this car instead of the Model 1. Let's think of a name here. So this will be called the Ueno Crane. And of course, trim 1 with this base level, the S lineup for the standard budget level of this particular car. Well, first things first, let's put the rim offset and prepare to design the S level trim model of this car. Alrighty, so rim offset is all good for this car, so it's prepared to design this here Ueno Crane, the S lineup of this car, in a time lapse of me design this car right now. So for the design of this car, I started with the front end by adding a pair of dual headlights with a chrome rectangular grille in between the headlights, along with adding this chrome bumper fixture and turn indicators as I was inspired by the early 1960s Oldsmobile Cutlass. I then added these small vent fixtures that serve as another way to cool the engine, as most cars had this design feature back in the day. For the hood, I also replicated the Cutlass in a way by adding a colored pinstripe that goes from the logo to the other end of the hood. I also decided to add some fender-mounted mirrors to spruce things up for my car designs instead of adding the mirrors on the doors or the A-pillar like nowadays. For the sides, I added some fairly large chrome door handles and a fuel door on the right side that has a key lock like most vehicles had back in the day. I also try to add some styling to the sides by adding some body molding on the doors. I used a body molding fixture and connected it from the front wheel well to the back. For the back, I was inspired by the Datsun 510 for the taillights and overall styling. First, I added these rectangular taillights paired with the Ueno wordmark on the right side of the trunk. I then worked out what kind of rear bumper I should use for the car. It took me some time, but I chose this modded fixture that has a 3% curve and used the 3D tool to reposition the bumper and shove it into the body. To wrap up the back end, I added the license plate with the plate molding, the rear bumper guards, and the car's model name. Now for the interior, I managed to build one unlike the Model SQ, my last car. This literally took me 2 hours to design the whole interior, from choosing which dashboard can fit in this car, the steering wheel, the seats, the aesthetics, and so much more. The first thing I did was to find a dashboard that I could use. I chose one, but when I flipped it to the other side, the words and the tachometer were reversed. I manually tried to remedy this issue by using individual matching fixtures and fixing the words and labels for the setup for this interior fixture mod. After that, I managed to find a steering wheel for this car. Same thing with the seats too. At first, I decided to use the 1970s fixture mod pack, especially for the seats for the front and the back, but they seemed a little bit too advanced for this time period. I end up using some similar but fuller bucket seats paired with this rear bench seat placed in the back. Next, I added the flooring for the car, some gray flooring, which took me some time to complete. Same thing with the door cards, which gave me a headache to place the door cards. Same thing for the manual window crank and the door handles to put a spot where they can be accessed easily. Finally, after making some minor adjustments to the interior, I repainted the car to a yellowy looking color that you see here for the base model car. So, after getting everything done with this build, here's how it came out. This is the 1962 Ueno Crane. This basic yet stylish sedan is great for those living in the city who want great fuel economy. On top of that, it's quite roomy for a car with a 2.4 meter wheelbase, so no one should feel crammed in this car. Alrighty, so finally with the interior and exterior of this car, the Ueno Crane S is completely built, the standard issue model of this car. So before we sign off of the S model of this car, despite these two problems we got here, such as the car's load capacity being quite low and the car's weight and lack of power steering is so reducing the drivability and comfort, let's sign off and create the SL and the SR, the sport level trim model of this car, which starting off family budget. Let's see if we can just change this to a family rigger fam car. Was this okay? Sort of. Let me double check this real quick. So looking at the family car, it seems like it is quite drivable to a certain extent. Comfort setting, or stat is 18.1. The competitor score is 24.2. What did it do if I jack the quality sliders or put a comfort setting for the suspension type, which will make the car less drivable and people will hate it, despite making it more comfortable to suit this little stat here. So let's create the other two trim models. Create the S clone model, which this will be the SL, and I think I'll probably convert this to a coupe for the SR trim level, which will have a brand new engine. So let's make some subtle changes with the SL mid-trim level of this car. So as per usual, interior, premium, and where's the thingy at here? Low prestige. Oh no, we gotta do something fast. And let's also try this out. Let's try out a hydraulic ball type of steering, which will reduce the, well, one, increase the materials cost significantly, and people hate it already. Even adding hydraulic steering reduces prestige. This is stupid. What, do you not like the more modern stuff in your vehicle, or what? That's stupid. And what if I change this to an automatic 3-speed? It appears 107. Well, we improved comfort quite a bit, and prestige, I mean, this is pretty much the best you can get, so double check. From a manual 4-speed, which is not that comfortable because people hate manuals, especially in America. So 18 prestige, jump this up to 18.4, and really improve our comfort to around a 30. I think the low prestige is probably have to do with my 1.4 liter engine, because I can't really make any more variants of the engine once I make the sport engine, because I could only house 2 engines at my factory at the moment. Alright, so we're good at the trim level of the car. I changed this up to a solid disc. I made some changes with the suspension, all that stuff. And for the exterior, I have to change up the transmission, seeing that it's now an automatic for this car. Is there like an automatic force shifter, or can I just use a column shifter that I can just implant somewhere here? And I forgot to put the Ueno logo. And also, let's put this on here for this steering wheel, seeing that it's power steering. But right there, good. I guess the closest force shifter, seeing that there's no like good column shifters, is this one right here. We're gonna keep the handbrake and maybe change up the seats. Meaning the floor too. Alright, so I changed up the paint of the car, including the interior. So with the seats, as a brief overview, I changed up from a cloth leather seat to black leather with some chrome little trim. It used to have been just plastic trim, and now it's been upgraded to just chrome trim for the front and back seats. And changed the floorboard from a boring gray color to a dark gray cloth material. So everything else seems to be well in shape with this trim level of the car. Same thing, I'm not going to change up the engine because we need to make way for the new engine for the SR model. And for the suggestions for this car, see that we fixed them compared to the S level, so there's no problems with the engine or the car itself, so let's sign off on this and edit the SR. Okay, for the SR, I guess the 2-door variant, how will this work? I I'm kind of afraid to do this, but even though I can clone the trim, so this... Let's see. Okay, we're okay in terms of fixtures. Good in the front, sides, we need work. Well, first of all, delete the seams, like door seams, how I did. Yeah, I got some work to do. Apparently, they don't like sports cars. Oh, man. Oh, family sport. But it has to be a sedan. Might as well. Let's get out of here and reclone the car. So, delete the SR. Agree. Clone the SL. Rename it back to the SR. I said rename it back to the SR. And let's change up the demographics. So, what if I just go to sport? Nobody wants this. Other than the low sportiness and everything else in general. So, family sport it is, but I gotta make some changes to the car like I've said I'm gonna be doing here. So starting with the SR, let's add a new engine on here. So an inline 6, like I demonstrated, it won't really work that well, so an inline 4 it is. And let's get a good engine size here, maybe a, let's do probably a 1.6, I believe. So drop the stroke to 85. So 77 millimeters for the bore, 85 for the stroke to get the engine size to 1,585 cubic centimeters or 1.6 liters. And for the first time for this campaign series, let's experiment a single overhead cam 2-valve engine. Oh, first block material cast, and unfortunately cast again until I make some upgrades to my factory. And pretty much the usual, cast everything, maybe balance shafts maybe? Jack the compressor just a smidge, maybe an 8.0 to start things off, 5,500 RPM, and a 4-barrel single for performance mid-intake and mid-intake or mid-headers, you know the drill. 78.2 horsepower, not bad. Let me make the adjustments and finalize this particular engine. So I might as well call this engine here final, so let's name this bad boy. Instead of the type A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Let's give it a true name. This will be the LJ series type of engine. With this particular model will be the LJ 16-PC, meaning that this is an inline engine, the letter L is followed by the type J, 16 meaning it's a 1.6 liter engine, dash P meaning performance carburetor engine. This is pretty much how I'm going to be labeling my engines now for this car company for the future. And even with this engine, the horsepower we got is 81.5 horsepower at 5,200 RPM and a torque rating of 85 pounds-feet of torque at 3,900 RPM. So anyways, let's give you a listen of this performance engine right here. It idles pretty high around 1,200 RPM, but doesn't sound that bad. But on a side note, it being a performance engine, of course, will be a lot more powerful than the stock 1.4 liter engine. So the top speed, it claims we're getting overdrive. Come on, man, not anymore. So top speed for the sake of... It's saying this, really? So it's set it to 115 miles an hour, so we get some overdrive to improve it to 23 miles per gallon for our fuel economy. And keep it a manual 4-speed, and 94% low sportiness. Well, we could do better than that, and yes, we could do better than that. Look at that, we're better already, with matching tires 145s front and back, but what if we do 155s front and back? Over steering. Not anymore. And this shouldn't really hamper it whatsoever by changes to a premium, like seats and AM radio. Drops the sportiness a little bit, but in terms of sportiness, our competitor's score is 1.2, so they're not even trying at all. Yep, we're going to smoke the competition no matter what. In terms of the competing trims, 25. Okay. Alright, so I made the changes to the interior of the car yet again. Kept the same floorboard, still the dark gray cloth floorboard with the flooring and all that good stuff. And for the seats here, as you can already tell, I changed from a black leather to a kind of a reddish, like, racing-looking leather color with the red trim that almost matches up with the leather seats for the front. Same thing for the back, too. So it's pretty much the only major changes I've done for the interior of this car, including adding the SR trim badge, but it kind of sucks on this. is that you can't change the color of the badging other than having like the black emboss, chrome, silver, regular black, regular silver, regular white. You can't change the badging, like the color, so I could have like a chrome S and a red R, signifying this is a more performance model of this car, but I pretty much have to let this slide, unfortunately. So for the problems with this car before we sign out of this bad boy, despite these two problems, such as the rear dampers being too hard, and again, lack of power steering, let's sign off the SR Crane, and get on ready to marketing this bad boy, getting the factory set up, and everything else in general. So the S level is at 104.2 for the family market demographic standing, the normalized desirability. Family Premium, same thing, 69.9, that's very nice of a demographic badge. Normalized desirability, 117.6, 1% can afford it for competing trims at the moment. And 57.7 for the SR demographic badge, 147.6 normalized desirability, 27% of the people can afford this of 25 competing trim levels. So the S and SL will be using the Type A engine. This will be replaced in the late 60s for a better inline 4 and potentially an inline 6 engine. And the LJ series for the SR level make it 30 more horsepower compared to the Type A engine, and it having a single overhead cam compared to a push rod. So it claims around 56, 57 months this should be done, but this won't be the case, so manualize it a bit, make it a smidge reliable, optimize it, and work hard, play hard to a 55. So 55 months this will be done. And for the engine, oh, this is not configured yet for the LJ. The engine is 43 months, but I want my engineers to learn about this engine, so 44 months with the pressure at a 41, leaning more towards the learning section. And a Fruiting tuning plan as is with the Type A and LJ series, but unfortunately with the engine, like right now I could change the engine if I want to, but if I were to do so, I think I'm going to be cutting off production of the Type A, pretty much grinding this to a halt because of me trying to upgrade the factory as so. What if I change this to a large? I mean, it's going to cost me, but this here, $177 million. Let's give this a try. So it says large factory size, and a plot size is of course large, so signing the engine off, 1965 I think it said, right? Yep, from January 1962 to September 1965 the engine should be done, but it has to be released with the car, which I believe will be 1966. And engine being overworked, but I think this will probably change once I select all the cars. I guess I'll probably keep this at a medium and probably make a separate large or probably huge factory for like I said. Maybe for this factory here, the Fruity assembly plant here, I think sooner or later once I build a second factory, the Fruity assembly plant will be overhauled to be making like SUVs, vans, pickup trucks or whatever, and a new assembly plant will be for like my cars that I'm making, sedans, coupes, hatchbacks, or whatever. So we're making pretty good profit according to the status here. So release of the S alone will be $7,000 or 7 whatever a unit. Is it 7,000 or 7 million? Oh my god, the SL, 16,502, and the SR alone, $9,000. It seems like the SL is pretty much going to be, yeah, the only one that's pretty much carrying this goddamn project. It's almost like the game wants me to get rid of the budget level to make big buck on the premium trim level car and the sporty trim level car. Like, get rid of the budget level car, it seems like. So let's see if I'm doing a good job here in terms of, It's not being produced, used by a trim. Let's back out. I think I'm having a problem here. Can I re-sign the project? Like, edit this? Go back to 1. Alright, sign off on that. Now we're good. Probably a little conflict there with producing the LJ and the current Type A engine that's in production. No, we still got a problem, Houston. Yeah, we still got a problem. Yep, let's build a large factory, screw everything. So right away at, why is the SR so cheap, but the S level is like god tier expensive? What if we just calculate this as is? Still make it over $2 billion in 10 years, but this is not fair at all. What was my price for the other car, the SQ? So 7.2 7.2 for the SQ model, so let's do 60%, 7.5 for the S level, the SL 8.9, I think, and the SR will be 10. Will require a 15% deposit because of being a higher entry model. I mean, we're going to be making less money, but this should be a little bit more, I don't want to say fair, but realistic-ish and consistent with the prices of my car that I've been selling for the past several videos this career, and making this a little bit more realistic per se with the economy and all that stuff, especially for the year 1962 and 1962's money. So apparently a 50% deposit will kinda not work in the mid and long run. Let's see again. I think it's the very long run. I think I'll call it final. 7.5 for the S level, 8.9 SL, $10,002 for the SR level. And yep, by 1966 this should be done, including the engine factory, the upgrade to it. So starting off with the car engineering, 55 months, engine engineering, 44 months, car factory to shut down for the retooling of the Ueno Crane, 2 months, 12 months for the upgrade, engine staff, 0 months. So it's hopefully this will be a good run here of upgrading my factory and... Huh? Oh, that's the inline 6 I tried to bait, so... Can I delete this? Yeah, delete project. Let's get rid of the family 1 and not have this be considered for a loan. And let's activate a loan. Let's just do this to cover our ass. Maybe a 35% loan coverage, payback time, 36 months. So the Crane and LJ series is a go, sign off, agree, and let's head on over until either A, there's a big problem, or B, the new Ueno Crane will be sold. So it's advance and make $10 million per month. Look, 10 million there, 10.3, and 10.5, and so on until we get to the Crane. Uh-oh, Furnier Towing Plan is a quality issue. Oh boy. Your staff has discovered a significant issue in the production of the Type A. That's pretty ass. Well, the severity is pretty significant, and it's average to fix, but the discovery chance is pretty low. I guess we'll start off with a quiet recall, seeing that the chance is pretty low. So quiet recall, do the cheaper option, rather than just like doing nothing and making our company go shambles because we're dicks. We're like GM with the faulty ignition switches. And look at that, we're making a profit at... Uh-oh. Type A. Mom? Grandma? Chris, help me? Yep, kids. Never upgrade a factory if the SQ is being made so $4 billion. Just end it, please. Okay, good. $44 billion in losses. So, $5 billion in cash. Start the LJ and... Wait. Are you kidding me? The Type A is gone. Type A, yeah, Type A is gone. How do I... Type A Taiwan. Why the hell did it abandon the freaking engine to Type A? I told you not to do so. Do we need to make a facelift for crying out loud? Okay, Type A. Superseded. Come on, sign off screen. Make haste. Why? You're telling me that this is gonna be a freaking waste? At least people are buying the SL, but there's no engine, there's no 1.4. Well, before the damage is done even more, I might as well just stop with the campaign series and prepare to drive all 3 of the Cranes here, starting with the SR and the time trial run at BeamNG Drive to see what these cars are like if this car were to exist. So here we are at the map of West Coast USA, and what I got loaded here is a single rolling start, like a time trial layout of the long race circuit without the chicane with the Crane SL. So again, let's start off our 1 lap of a rolling start here, and ready? Go! And for the first time in this series of having a automatic transmission other than using a manual transmission, so... pretty decent right now, we're in 2nd gear, and I swear if we get a 0 to 62 time, it's going to be pretty bigger of having a 54 horsepower engine that's no longer being made for whatever reason. 0 to 62 at 19.07 seconds of 940.26 feet. How about the brakes just up ahead? No texture? Right? What's it say? No mesh. Interesting. That's what you get for not updating this app. But this is the official BeamNG time trial. They gotta fix this. Unless I gotta clear out my cache or whatever. And even too, with the Type A engine being gone for whatever reason for this project of this car here, it's kind of weird of how I told them to reuse that same exact engine for this car and to use the the bigger 1.6 liter engine for the SR. Do I have to like make a facelift, like engine facelift, or a car facelift to, I think pretty much an engine facelift to forcefully like bring back the Type A engine, if not just reuse the LC engine, but make a more like less powerful version along with adding a facelift version of this car here. Or if those don't work, just hurry up and design another car, and hopefully that car will be a banger like the SQ of making $10 million per month. Unlike now, with this car, we're losing $7 million per month, pretty much erasing our gains with that car compared to the SQ. So let me know down below in the comments if I either have to like make a facelift for the engine, the Type A engine, or make a facelift for the car and reuse the LC or the LJ engine, the 1.6 liter, and like downbore or flat out use the same engine or whatever. Just let me know your suggestions down below to like pretty much resolve that issue, and not only that, just make sure that doesn't happen again for me in the future, so I don't let the company go bankrupt because of how the game is set up with the logistics and everything and how projects are worked out and all that stuff. And here is the final straightaway. It was a pretty good corner I did right there, the final corner right there. So 2 minutes, 51 seconds, 875 milliseconds. Seems okay-ish. So let's crash up ahead and prepare to load up the SQ, no SQ, goddammit, the SR trim level of the Crane, so everything as is. Ooh, boy, there goes an explosion of... I should probably slow this down next time I crash. The explosion of my fixtures from the bumper and the mirrors and everything else, steering wheel in general, just scattered all over across the battlefield. So let's load up the SR level of this car and redo this time trial. Alright, so I got the SR trim level of the Crane, so no need to introduce the time trial yet again. Still one lap, still rolling start, so get ready. Go. What a mediocre-ass launch. And let's see if a more sportier engine, 0 to 62 in 15.30 seconds, 695.97 feet, so 4 seconds quicker compared to the automatic version. And how about the brakes? They seem pretty good. It didn't lock up for a minute until I had to hit the brakes again. So again, a time I have to beat is a 2 minutes, well, it's 2:51, but technically 2 minutes 52 seconds, but in reality, 2 minutes 51 seconds, 875 milliseconds, I believe. Ooh, a little bit of oversteer there. Well, technically it's my fault for going a little bit too deep on the curbs. How about this corner up ahead? So brake here. I was too timid on the brakes. I guess this car handles pretty well, so let's try this corner again, this chicane. So brake a little bit harder and... Ooh. Premature drift, and I would say premature drift, but shoddy drift. And in terms of top speed, I know Automation claimed around 100 miles an hour, but let's say 98 right there. Get ready on the brakes, a little harder. Good. Not too bad right there. So it showed 98 miles an hour in airspeed, but in Automation, it calculated roughly 100 miles an hour. Pretty much what I had right there at airspeed. Anything higher, that's just pure overdrive, and there's nothing really I can do about it because of the engine being a bit underpowered in a way to reach that top speed, being a little bit realistic in this time period. And two, a lack of aerodynamics to keep the car on the ground, and pretty, honestly, sustainable. But, synchronizer damage, a little bit too soft in the clutch. Even though I'm using a PS4 controller to shift and everything. 2 minutes, 34 seconds, 836 milliseconds. We smoked the automatic training time by 18 seconds, 17 seconds? Yeah, we smoked it by roughly 17 seconds, if my math is correct. So let's smash this boy up ahead. I was talking about, God damn it, it didn't want me to steer at first. I don't care about synchronizer damage, so let's slow this down. So 16 times camera as is. Let's see the explosion of the fixtures. And now, free cam. Goddamn freaking dust in the way. There, so there goes the steering wheel, the dashboard, the bumper, the rearview mirror. What? Oh, that's part of the dashboard assembly, like the, not the steering wheel, but the speedometer, and everything else in general, full time. Engine still runs because, well, it's an Automation to BeamNG vehicle. That's, whoopsies, how they work out. I don't care if we're in first gear. So the car, despite having advanced 1960 safety standards to stay on par with the ever, I don't say approved, but Let's say the minimum safety standards of not having 1950 safety standards in this type of vehicle. Well, despite the safety standards, held up pretty well in terms of structural integrity of the vehicle. It pretty much held up pretty, not so well. I thought it would have been kind of well, but no, you're going to be in a world of hurt, probably dead. So anyways, for the final part of the video, let's drop this bad boy down, drop it off at a ramp, a pimped out ramp of the new Car Jump Arena 2023 map, which is a paid mod. So let's take you to the top of the ramp with the S level variant of the Crane right now. Alrighty, so we got the S level variant of the Crane, even though I don't have the little S badging right here because, well, it's a base level car, who even cares? So let's accelerate this bad boy with the engine no longer exists according to automation because the 1.4 Type A engine is superseded for whatever reason, which is kind of weird. Should've just kept the goddamn engine so I wouldn't run those problems in automation. 0 to 62 in 11.05 seconds, that's what we're talking about in about 400 feet. And we're beyond its top speed. Over rev risk, please? Or no? I guess not. 150 miles an hour exactly is our speed that we get off, and 275 meters was the point of impact. Still, we're on our four wheels. Let's just hop across, or just sleep with the fishes in the frickin' lake or pool. I keep calling a lake and a pond at the same time, and I swear. Yellow flag, red flag. Ooh, this ain't good. That means y'all fools gotta stop because we got a drowning victim right here, man. And now it's a green light. So how does the thing work? Do I have to, like, have the car, like... Okay, red flag. What if it's moving? No? Well, it's still a green light at the moment, so anyways, despite all that, let's check out the aftermath destruction of the vehicle after recording for 5 frickin' hours. It's pretty much the reality of, like, automation of BeamNG videos. It's like I'm literally recording for like 3 hours, 4 hours, especially this video being 5 hours long, which is a personal best for an automation BeamNG video. And it's currently 4 a.m. Eastern time. I'm gonna go to bed as soon as I'm done with this goddamn video. So despite that, held up pretty well as we land on our four wheels after rolling over a few times, and the car itself held pretty well in terms of structural integrity. Not too bad of that kind of collision that we had back there. So with the Ueno Crane S, SL, and SR lineups, well, I don't know why the game discontinued the Type A engine despite using it for the S and SL models. Maybe I can recover my losses by making a facelift for those two models by using a different engine. Despite that ordeal, the car performs alright for the cheaper models by having a manual 4-speed and an automatic 3-speed to boost comfort ratings, and to modernize my company by offering the state-of-the-art technology to car buyers. More importantly, with the SR model, the car isn't that bad to drive, with the all-new 1.6-liter inline-4 engine making 81.5 horsepower. It's a quick and easy car to drive around in the late 1960s. I'll definitely reuse the LJ series engine for my future car builds until I get the opportunity to try out a fuel injection system rather than using carburetors. So anyways, that'll do it with Automation's light campaign version 4.2 and BeamNG Drive. And for those who are interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any videos like this in the future. So this is TRIZE Rising Up, and signing out.